Good evening. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. If you just tuned in, it's Heartlines. We are going to be discussing something interesting today. As you always know, this is our space where we discuss all things friendship, relationship, marriage, love, parenting, everything in between. That's what we discuss here. Tonight, we want to have a conversation around parents, and we're asking who is qualified to be called a parent. That's a question for today, and this is sparking. Or this conversation rather was necessitated, based off of a viral video that went all over social media of a parent or a mother feeding her child alcohol. And of course, I have Precious. Precious has joined me live via Zoom, right from the city of Port Harcourt, River
Yes.
State. Hi, Precious. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening. So, how have you been? How did your day go? Did it rain in Port Harcourt
Oh
today?
my, of course, of course. Like it's
I
been
think.
going on for weeks. So at this point, we're used to it.
Oh, okay. So today, at least, we had a breather today. There was no rain in Lagos, so or it drizzled a little bit. I'm not sure again, but it's not as bad as that day. Uh, so Precious, I don't know. Did you see that video of that woman feeding her daughter a sachet alcohol that went viral?
I did. I saw the video, and the fact that she felt comfortable enough to type her reason and then still post it on social media. And I'm also wondering who was taking the video.
Hmm.
Was it her mate, like her age mate? Was it her junior, like she forced the person? Was it her partner? Or was it even someone who was older than her that should have been able to correct her?
Hmm. I'm so upset. You know why? So this video she posted initially, she wrote every night just to make her sleep. Every night. Pay attention to the word.
That's what I'm
Every
telling you.
night. So
Her excuse.
then, only for her to now do another video, lying that it's not the content of the sachet that is inside, or that it is what's it called, it's one of these fizzy drinks that she puts inside. And I said, are you okay? Do you want to play on people's intelligence? First of all, look at, she now said that she had a second video. If you look at two videos, they're completely two different videos. Even her outfit, she didn't even have the sense to wear the same outfit. The daughter's hair was nicely put with a yellow ribbon in the first video. This second one, nothing like that. And she now comes out lying. You should have just come out to say, you know what, hey, guys, I didn't know that, alcohol is detrimental to the health of my child. Thank you for bringing the awareness, blah, blah, blah. And instead of coming to now try to want to cover it up with a lie. So I've just been livid since I saw that. I saw that first video, I was quiet. But this second video she now did just made it worse for me, because it seems like you actually do not get it. That, you're not just only damaging the child, you're damaging a lot of things. But hey, that's why it then kind of what's it called, necessitated this conversation for us to have tonight, about the qualifications of who is supposed to be called a parent. Because some people just think that, okay, I can get pregnant, or I can donate sperm, I can donate egg, and I can bring a child into this world. People don't really pay attention to the fact that for you to be called a parent, a lot of things must go inside of you for you to be regarded as a parent. But so Precious, just to, kick off the conversation, right? Um, if you were to define who a parent is, right, who would that be? And who are the people that are qualified to be called one? Precious, are you there? Is she muted? Hello? Okay. Did we lose Precious? They should not let me start, because if I continue this.
Um, as in, I went off for a while, but I'm back.
Okay. So did you get my question? Sugar. Did we lose her again? Okay. So I mean, while we're trying to reconnect with Precious, right? Who is qualified to be called a parent? Who is a parent? I think, if I were to put a definition to who a parent is supposed to be someone that has the emotional, the mental, the physical, you know, stability to, what's it called, nurture another human being, groom them, guide them, and, help them also navigate this world. So it's not just money. Well, let me even add financial. So mental, physical, emotional, financial ability to be able to do all of those things. That is what I would say that definition of a parent is. But Precious, I think you're back. So, do you want to quickly define um, in your own words, who you think a parent is? Who should be called a parent?
Okay, so generally speaking, a parent is supposed to possess certain characteristics. So a parent is supposed to nurture, a parent is supposed to care, a parent is supposed to support the growth of the child in their care. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're the one that gave birth to this child or not. If you're an adult who is responsible for the welfare of a child, you provide a roof over their head, you pay their fees, you give them food to eat, you buy clothes for them, you correct them when they are wrong, you advise them when they need advice, you do all of these things. So you nurture, you care, you support the growth of a child, then
Mm,
you are a parent. It's not that you will do one and you don't do the others. It's not
mm,
a 30% something. It's you have to give it your all at every point in time. So
mm,
once you find yourself at any point in time you're not doing all of these things, then you need to sit back and think and ask yourself why. What has caused you not to be the complete parent, in the life of your child or your ward?
mm. So haven't defined that, because I was also saying that there's a lot of stability that is required for you to be able to nurture children. People just think that because I can biologically conceive, right, house a baby in my womb, and automatically, once that child is birthed, automatically I should be called a parent. Does that hold true, or there has to be much more in terms of the responsibility for that title that comes with that title?
Yeah, so because you can give birth, you have the ability to either impregnate somebody, or you, the woman, you have the ability to give birth. That is only one reason, which is just the biological reason. We have kids who their biological parents died, and other parents, other adults stepped in to be their parents so that you can give birth. That's just a biological reason. There are so many other things that makes you a parent. So when I was listing out all of the things a parent does, I said you don't do one and just assume automatically you're a parent. That I gave birth does not automatically make me a parent, because a parent is much more than the one who gives birth or the one who impregnates someone. A parent is supposed to be in charge of the total care of that child that has been given to them. So it's
Absolutely.
much more than, so there is biological, after all, we have biological parents, we have adoptive parents, we have foster parents.
Mm-hmm.
And these people all do amazing jobs.
Absolutely. I was even going to say to you, Precious, that when it comes to housing a baby in the womb, with technology these days, that's the least of.
Incubator is everywhere.
Do you understand? Is it only even incubator? Right now, Sef, you can just carry your matter. Is it not the surrogacy matter they were fighting each other on social media
For
on? Do
exactly a
you
couple of
understand?
weeks.
You
Yes.
can easily go and keep your baby somewhere in somebody else's womb. Or even, I mean, I saw a was that a film or something, I can't remember, where they already, like, artificially create wombs where they insert babies and all of that. So I mean, these technologies, they will become a reality where in the
Yes.
future women can opt to say, please, I don't want to house any baby inside of me. I can, let me have house the baby somewhere else. And of course, if
Yes.
they can afford it, why not? They will do it, right? But the point I'm trying to
Yes.
make is that, if truly, right, if somebody was thinking, oh, because I carried a child to full term, 9 months in my womb, automatically that makes me a parent. I'm just saying to you that, that is the least of because today, the way the world is going, very soon your womb will be regarded irrelevant, because there can be other things that can
Once
help
they
you
get
house.
the eggs, exactly. Once they get the eggs, that's all.
They can house the baby. So I mean,
Yeah.
so now I'm saying all of this to kind of like set the foundation, so that when we're having this conversation, somebody is not thinking, no, you can't say that. A lot of people do not realize that for you to call yourself a parent, you are supposed to have gone through some level of what's it called, knowledge, acquisition, a lot of training that is required, because even you have to be a psychologist, you have to be a therapist, you have to be a counselor at some point, you have to learn how to do emotional intelligence, you have to learn how to
Yeah.
be friends at some point, you learn to, there's so many delicate moving parts for you to
Yes,
get to
there
that
is.
point where you can call yourself a parent. There's a
Yes.
lot of sacrifice that should go into the act of parenting. And not
Yes.
many people are doing it. And these days, it's even more worrisome for me when I see all these Gen Z parents. Because, the kind of things that I see that is online, this woman's own is just the list. Jonathan is the list of the things that people are doing, you know? So I don't know. Now that we have established that, how do we start to intentionally, call out the people that are qualified? This is now not discriminating anybody. What
Mm.
and what will qualify you to say, okay, you know what? I have gone through XYZ, this, that. I think we should start to certify parents. And some organizations are already doing it, right? They are certifying you, go through series of training, they certify you, a parent. So what should that qualification look like?
I would, okay, so I don't know if we're going to subscribe to the idea of, the qualification, but in more advanced countries or economies, what they do is they have a supervisory body. So for instance, if we had child protective services functioning properly as it should be, she would have been reported to the authorities. The evidence would have been submitted, because they don't even need to look for the evidence so much. You used your hand to post this thing. So there's evidence that you were giving your child alcohol. And you cannot now come and tell us that it's water or juice that was inside there. So Child Protective Services swoop in and take the child. It's this mentality of, I am the one responsible for this child. Nobody can take my child away from me. I am not saying the Western world that are, removing children from homes are doing the 100% best. Sometimes they make mistakes, they make errors, and remove kids from homes that they were not supposed to remove the kids from. There's always room for error, we understand that. But if we had a working child protective services in Nigeria, there are so many of these things people post on the internet in this country that they will not post anymore. Because it's not just about that you are not a good parent, it's about the quality of care that you are providing for this child. It's about abuse, because as far as I'm concerned, she's also abusing the girl. This girl, if this has not come to light, we grow up to have issues. I am also assuming that it is alcohol she gave the girl based on what I am seeing. So you can imagine the kind of future she's setting up this female child for. So it's not just about the today. So when they say they want to certify, I would say that instead of telling parents to come and run a course, even if it's free, they won't come. See, driver's license. People drive around in this country without a license. In fact, they even get the license without going to driving school. So it's not about that. They will find a way to still boycott the system. But if we have, the
A
police, the child protective
functioning government.
oh yes, functioning,
Because
and
the thing is that, you see, the reason a lot of people can get away with all of these things is because the government said they could not even send anybody. Because honestly speaking, like what you said, Ifa is the audacity for me. Because when she came with the second video, if you look at the sachet of that thing, she cut it very small. Guess what? The second video, the child was refusing the whatever, the pet drink she poured into the thing. The child refused to take it. But the first video, you will see the child was taking. So if a forensic a specialist studies this video, it's even the more reason she should be locked up in jail. Because absolutely there is no iota of truth in this so-called apology that she has brought. But like you rightly said, if we had a functioning social security system, right? A system that protects children, a system that protects citizens, you understand? This will not fly. A lot of things, a lot of nonsensical things that I see people post on social media will not fly. You understand? Because she has it's the audacity to post it for me. So when she saw people calling her out, that's when it then dawned on her. That is even the more reason that she is not qualified. Because in terms of sense, she no gets. She is not qualified to be a mother.
Because you want to go viral for the wrong thing. And we always forget that the internet never forgets. The internet never forgets. This video, no matter how she wants to take it down, will still be there. As in, I'm just looking at it and I'm just shaking my head. It's quite unfortunate that she happens to be the scapegoat.
And you are laughing.
Every other person is.
She's laughing about it. I was saying, so when I was having I have a prime time show at 8 p.m. earlier. I was saying that I know a lot of parents that give their children, they feed them cough syrup, all of these things, you understand? She's not the only person doing it, right? She was just stupid enough to put it on social media because she thought it was something that was cruise. That's to tell you that she lacks the capacity to even have the intelligence to be called a parent. That's number one. So the point I was trying to make is, if a child is not sleeping, Precious, you should know this. If I come to you as an adult and I'm saying, Precious, I'm not sleeping, you know, because you are trained, you start to probe. You start to ask me questions. You start to say, oh, wow, what have you been doing? What has been your habits lately? What has been your eating, what's it called? What have you been eating? What kind of diet are you on? Are you on any kind of medication? You know, and all of that. You will probe and probe and probe. They don't just throw drugs at you. You understand? It is after you have probed. Sometimes you just realize that, you know what, maybe you're not drinking enough water. You understand? Start to drink enough water. Take a little exercise. It will help you to sleep better. You know, a child is not sleeping. And you have the audacity to come out to say that every night. It's not even some night. Every night. A baby. For goodness sake, babies will be babies. They are meant to keep you awake. That is part of growing up. They are meant to keep you awake.
Sometimes these kids don't sleep till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. before they sleep. That's why they are children. And there are better ways to go about, helping your child sleep. Like you rightly said, you watch their sleep patterns, you watch their activities during the day. You try to have, I call them winding down activities once it's night time, So the child is learning. If you actually keep them awake, you've seen children fall asleep while playing. They are standing and sleeping, because they are so, engrossed in the play that they are doing. They don't want to find time to rest. But that doesn't mean you will every night give your child alcohol, purposely drugging your child, purposely destroying the health of your child. She will have liver issues. She will have stomach issues.
Yes, internal organs.
She's going to have
her brain development. Oh, God.
And then what happens when this girl grows up to be an alcoholic tomorrow? So by extension, she's also going to be, if help doesn't come in good time, she's going to be a burden wherever she goes to, whether it's secondary school, whether it's university, and then she can now start looking for other means to act out. And, before you know, we start spiritualizing everything. Meanwhile, you are the main causative factor of why your child turned out the way she did.
This is sad.
So parents need to do better. And that was why I said she did not hold that camera herself. Someone held that camera.
It is the
If
man
it
that
was
came
an
in the
adult,
apology video. That's the one. It is the
exactly.
two of them that they need to arrest.
So why would
Hey,
another
God.
adult watch me make a stupid mistake and watch me post that same mistake? Then you don't like me.
That is because that's why I'm saying that there's such a high level of stupidity and ignorance that it's even the more reason. It's the more reason that the child should be taken away from her. It's the more reason, but the only challenge we have is that if that child, like you rightly said, if the child leaves her, you understand, we don't even know the next person that would, be able to take care of that child.
It's just because
But
the Nigerian system is not
sometimes I always thank God that I am not in all of these law enforcement agencies, because this is the kind of thing.
But just go arrest her.
The way I go take carry this matter for my head. Because you see,
and the irony of it, there are people who are looking for this, to have a child. There are people who have gone through higher hell, like they've done everything. Conceiving is an issue. They're having fertility issues. They've been, going from one fertility clinic to the other. And you have your child and you purposely expose your child negatively to the public. The so-called blessing that you have, the so-called gift that you have, you can't even, like I said, nurture, care, support. These three things, there is no one she has done for that girl by posting that video. Okay. Even if she went viral for the wrong thing. So is she telling me that if she gets paid from this, she'll be very proud to say, yes, I got paid in millions from posting this type of video where I was abusing my child.
But Precious, let's be real. Have we not blurred certain lines today? Are parents not the ones sending their children out to go and prostitute and bring money for them and buy them phones, buy them cars? Is it not parents that are doing that? I mean, as old as I am, one of the main reasons my father said he wanted to raise his children in Kaduna, and he packed his bag as a young teenager and went to Kaduna, was because as at that time, this was years ago, what was reigning there was Italo in Benin, right? It seemed like every household you must have an Italo representation. You understand? Somebody that was abroad prostituting themselves, to be able to, cater to the family. So he said he was not going to have that, and decided that no, he's going to raise his children in a more decent and sane environment. And that was how he moved as a young child, even way before we started coming to the picture as his children. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, today, the lines are so blurry. It's not like these things did not exist before, but there was a bit of, there were some very sharp distinction. You can say, no, this is morally wrong. This is right. This is wrong. Today, what is right and what is wrong right now is so blurred, right, that you can't even tell anymore. Because this one now, it is alcohol she's feeding her child. Some other mothers have prostituted their children to their sugar daddies. Some other mothers have done all sorts of things. That's why I'm saying that, you see, the definition, and we need to be very clear, and we need to start to intentionally know how to separate things. Parenting requires there's a lot that goes into whoever, you are grooming. Right? And that thing, it's a direct correlation of who you are as a person, right? Whatever your values are, whatever your nuances are, it is very important because that child can only become what the child sees. The vision is so powerful, right? That's why they tell you that write your vision and put it in front of you and continue to look at it every day. The more you see it, the more that vision is impressed in your heart, right? The more you become who you are seeing. And that is why the most biggest influence for any child is the parent. She took a sip. She gave the daughter and she finished it. She was the one that squeezed the final juice from the sachet. Already this tells you that this is catastrophe, waiting to happen. So
Yes.
See, I don't know how else to explain this. And you see, so I was saying that most of the societal challenges that we have today, most of the dysfunctionality, because there are so many things now, so many human beings that are dysfunctional. A lot of them are dysfunctional. They are not trying to redefine things that are not supposed to be defined. And all those dysfunctionality, it stems from somewhere. Is a failure. Is a
It
failure
is.
of, parenting from the home. And that's
It
why we
is.
cannot just wake up and say, yes, I hear you when you said that if we start to give qualifications, right, people will just, they don't need to pass the exam and all of that. The point I'm making is not really about the qualification, it is going under tutelage. Just the way you go and learn about business before you start a business, just the way you go and learn in school for 4 years or 5 years or whatever, how many years your course is, before you can get a job. Can we also make parenting a priority? You understand? So beyond those
Yeah.
antenatal trainings that they give, oh, wash the babies, this thing, bath the baby, all of that, can we incorporate some of these important life lessons that is required to be able to raise another human being? Because there's so much dysfunctionality pressures everywhere.
Yes.
Go and check. And a lot of these things, it
Yes.
can be traced back,
Yes.
to the dysfunctional home that these people are coming from.
Yes, of course. And once a child comes from a dysfunctional home, it's difficult for them to um, change values when they even interact with other kids. So you can come from a very wonderful home and all of that. And then when you go out there, you get to meet with bad influences, but you are not influenced by those, bad influences. Why? You're coming from a very strong family background that um, taught you well, that made you understand that you need to be able to stand your ground, be able to say no, know what you want, be honest, and all of that. So yes, I like the fact that you went further to explain the need for continued tutelage of parents, of parenting to intending parents or even parents who are already parents. There are so many ways that this can be done. So you mentioned the antenatal class that they go for. Now, this is already when the woman is pregnant. But I want to believe that, and this will also take us back to what we keep saying over and over. Because of the country that we are in, most of the people who are parents today are married. So before you get married, we say it doesn't matter whether you go to church or not, go for marriage counseling.
Counseling, yeah.
Thank God that marriage counseling is not only given by pastors. In the society, we have trained counselors. So this should be one of the topics to say, oh, do you have like planning for the family? So kids and all of that. So discussion around how many kids you're going to have, how you hope to bring them up, what values your own parents taught you that you think you want to transfer down to your kids. Because another thing that this video just went on to prove is that there was a break in the knowledge transfer between this lady's parents and her. I'm not going to say her parents didn't do a good job. That's why I said there was a break somewhere.
Precious, please just say it as it is. Because if let's say even she herself, they give her some small paraga when she was growing up, because the
Sometimes we
brain no
just
set.
blame parents. That's why I said there was a break, because if there was no break in the way the parents brought her up, then she would be able to properly bring up her own child. So there are things I tell people, if as old as you are, you still cannot remember, or like for myself, there are things I want to do, and what I hear, at the back of my mind is my mom's voice. And in my head, I'll be like, but I'm an adult now. Which kind of wahala be this? It's not that I'm making a bad decision, but it's just that you could have done this thing in a different way. Don't you think so? If you had tried this other way, the outcome would have been better. And that
Different.
voice, happens to be my mom's voice. So no matter who you are, once you become a parent, you should be able to say, look, I may have not been through or had lovely parents. I mean, life happens. So even if I'm from a dysfunctional home, whether we like it or not, from childhood up until adulthood, you would have seen at least one or two properly functioning families. Sometimes you might even see them from afar and just admire. But if you don't know how to be a parent, there should be a place, which is what you're saying, that someone can go and say, look, can I learn this thing? Sometimes we see people become parents and they have no idea what they got into. All their own is they were following the progression of, what they were taught, which is go to school, go to NYC, marry, get a job if you're a woman. And once you get married, the next thing is,
Born
have
children.
kids. Without understanding whether this woman understands the intensity of the responsibility that is about to be thrust upon her.
This
I
thing
have
you
family
just.
members who have kids. Yeah?
Go ahead.
So I have family members who have kids. I have friends who have kids. I have a couple of friends who just had kids. And so I get to see a lot of the mental and emotional stress they go through. Not even that they are teaching their child good or anything good or bad. Like the child is like 1 month old, 2 months old, but already you're seeing how invested they are. Oh no, this has to be done right. Oh, I don't want my child to do this, suffer this. I don't want my child to suffer that. I want to be sure we didn't sleep last night because he was fuzzy or she was fuzzy or running temperature and all of that. Oh, we had to rush to the hospital. So even if the pregnancy was smooth sailing, the delivery must have been something, because whether you give birth, vaginally or you go through CS, it is still a traumatic experience to your body. So you should be able to just say, no, this is what I suffer before I born. As women, I don't even understand. She's a mother. Now you born this pikin. You know exactly the pain you went through to actually birth her.
That's what
So
I'm telling
why
you.
would you consciously put your daughter in the way of danger?
That's what I'm saying, that she is absolutely ignorant and she lacks intelligence. I don't know how else to quantify it. You understand? Because it clearly shows that she lacks intelligence. She's absolutely ignorant. She should not be called a parent because she's not one. But let's go on a break, right, Precious, because I would like for us to even touch deeply more on what you just said, because some women are not even prepared. You're not prepared for the bodily changes. You're not prepared for all of those things. So a child just comes and kind of like distorts your entire life. But stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Heartlines will be right back.
This season on Heartlines, we're committed to making a difference in people's lives. So Heartlines, in partnership with Reda Consult, is offering 12 free slots of counseling every quarter for people in need of professional counseling. Additionally, we're taking on 2 pro bono cases for individuals navigating a challenging divorce. To participate, please send an email to counsel@vedaconsult.com with your story. Our team will carefully review all submissions and will contact all the shortlisted candidates. Heartlines is live Mondays to Fridays at 10 p.m. So engage with us.
Thanks for staying with us on Heartlines.
All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, we are having a conversation around who is qualified to be a parent. Please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp 081-803-84663. Our phone lines are also now open. The numbers to call 07025007749 or 07014242420. Those are the numbers that you can call to join in on the conversation. Precious, I was just saying that before we went on a break, right? You are a young girl, pretty, flat tummy, everything just penging, and all of a sudden you get pregnant. You now start to have stretch marks on your tummy. You start to have body. In fact, some people I've been seeing some videos online, what they were before the pregnancy and what they are during the
Yes.
pregnancy and after the pregnancy. Almost, I couldn't recognize some. But you see, these are real realities that you need to be mentally prepared for,
Yeah.
right? That the child would have sleepless night. You need to be prepared for that. I gave an
Yes.
example. My second son, we traveled to Dubai many years ago. He was a toddler. He was like 3 months old or something. I can't remember. And, he was crying uncontrollably. I kept on one. If not that we looked alike, they would have thought maybe I stole a child, because, yeah, he kept on crying uncontrollably, only for us to then find out later. I tried to breastfeed him because all my children, I did exclusive breastfeeding for them. I couldn't. He was not taking it. He was so cranky, and it had never happened before then. And I didn't even have the same experience with his older brother, right? But guess what? By the time I went to the medical facility, it was just gripe water they gave me. But the quality of that medication, the gripe water in Dubai, is different from the one we did in Nigeria. We'll just leave that. That one a
No, it's
story for
not.
another
We
day.
know. We
It
know. We
was
know. We
just
know.
a tiny drop that I put in his tongue. He pulled and slept. It was till the next day before he woke up. Do you understand what I'm saying? So a
Yeah.
child is crying every night. A child is cranky every night. Instead of you to go and trace the source of the crankiness and the whatever, you are now feeding that child alcohol. What does that tell you? Say you don't get sense. The person no get
Yes.
sense. So there are
Yes.
so many preparedness that needs to happen. You as the mother, you need to be mentally prepared. There's a couple I love so much on Instagram. I don't know their name now, but the guy is always calling his wife Samantha. I don't know if you've seen any of the videos. She recently just had a baby. It's their second baby. The way the man will just do you would think he's using juju. He'll just do something. Oh yeah, sleep, and the baby sleeps. After the baby is crying and crying and crying. Do you understand? Because he understands. See, for you to handle a toddler, you must be trained to understand a
Yeah.
toddler. There's a way
Yeah.
that you would, after feeding that child, there's a way you're supposed to place the child so that when the child is burping, that burp sometimes
Yeah.
comes with a very deep sleep. All these things are not something that you can just wake up. You understand? So there has to be a lot of intentionality in
Yeah.
the nurturing of that, because that is a life. That is a destiny. That is another
Yeah.
nation in your hand. You can't just play
Yes.
around with it. People need to be serious when it comes to children. You see, you can do anything to me. Anybody that knows me very well, you can do anything to me, but do not near my children. Do you understand? Because I have sacrificed a lot to be able to raise my children, because I understand the delicate nature of their lives and their destinies. You can't just wake up and impregnate somebody and think I'll be father now. What is that? And that is what we see all the time.
Yes. Yes. So a couple of months back, because no, I think this thing happened last year. I was discussing with some of my friends, and so there are certain questions I usually ask, and the questions make them open up more about their experiences as mothers. And I told them something. I said, I've seen women young girls get married, and the moment they have their first child, they bond more closely with their mothers. The next thing you hear is, my mother must have gone through a lot. Oh, I did not understand that this is how it will be. And it
Yeah.
made me realize that, again, there is a break in the knowledge transfer between the women who have walked the path of motherhood and those who are about to walk the path of motherhood. And these things cannot be taught just in, the marriage counseling class. It's not something that only one person can teach you. That's the point I'm trying to make. So there should be women forums. I know there should also be men forums. But
I was just going to say that, Precious, don't pull this narrative, because parenting is both
there will
parties.
also be men forums.
There should be parent forum. Don't call it women or men. Parent forum.
Forums. No, the reason why I said women forums, I wanted to explain something that had to do with the women.
Woman,
now,
yeah.
Yes, with the woman. Now, especially as it has to do with the actual giving birth and the changes that your
the
body
bodily
goes
changes, yeah.
Yes. So a friend of mine had her second child, and she did a video a few days back. We did a video call, and she showed me her body. She said when she had her first child, her stomach was not as distorted as it is now. And the distortion is not even like sagging skin. No. Like it's distorted, like somebody punched something and then you could not arrange it back.
Oh, wow.
And she said for the first time in her life as a mother, this is the first time she is beginning to feel a bit insecure about how she looks. And so she had a discussion with her husband, and they are still having the discussion anyways, because, you know, she can't resume the gym just yet. She still has to wait a couple of months. So she's having a discussion with her husband on how she can go to the gym and do certain, like, target her stomach. She said she's not bothered about adding weight. She's not bothered about anything. All she's bothered about is the shape of her belly right now. She don't like her. She's not even saying it should go back to become very flat. She's just saying
But
that it should look
like
a
a
regular,
belly that she recognizes.
like a belly. Now, because she has a supportive husband who understands, he's not busy telling her, you know, there's how you can support somebody but insult them or make them feel like their opinion doesn't matter. So he's not saying, but you just gave birth, now why are you bothered? But I love you like that. No, what he's trying to do with her is, look, let's look for a place that can actually deliver the results that you require. And I hope you don't mind if I join you. The husband is not fat, very pengele, slim human being like this. Be like who breeze go feed blow. So,
but that tells you that is an emotionally intelligent man that understands that all she needs at this point is support. He's a balanced man. You see that kind of balanced man, he will raise balanced children.
Yes. So now that's why I said for the class, so there will be like, for the forums rather, there will be a combined forums where men will be taught to understand why all of a sudden a woman might no longer feel secure about her body and how best to approach it. And then for the women, they need to, so I've seen people go through childbirth and did not know that there's something called, there's a name they call it now, but the one that they tear you when. So in their mind, my child is not big. Why did the doctor tear me?
I had a cut, then there was a tear, yeah.
I have a friend who has 2 kids, and her husband's family, they are big boned. They are not fat, they're just big boned. So her 2, when I mean tear from the front to the anus.
Hey.
So she has done it twice, and she said if she so this now her mother-in-law told her that that's what women that marry into this family go through. You know, she didn't know until she had the first child. And then when she completed that, she doesn't understand. So her healing process is always longer. And then by the time she had the second, she was better prepared psychologically, emotionally for what happens after the tear. And other issues that, you know, she usually has. We've seen women who once they take in, they have diabetes, pregnancy-induced diabetes, some lose their hair, some start going partially blind and all of that. But because most women are not properly informed, we're not saying because it happened to A, it will happen to you. But we're saying that have a wide variety of experiences from others. So that when yours happens, you're able to tap into that well of knowledge or that wealth of knowledge and understanding because of the people that have gone before you.
Absolutely. And because all these things that you have said, Precious, it actually affects how you then parent that child. So I've seen some mothers that because they had such a difficult pregnancy, they now over pamper that child, over spoil the child, want to give the child everything. That is also still not good. Do you understand? Some people would just kind of, you know, I mean, there were stories of how, you know, she developed a mental disorder after having a child, and she threw her child away. You understand? So we've seen all of these things, and that is why that awareness, that education, that enlightenment is important. So that by the time you know clearly that this is what I am going through. And this is why they say that children should not be getting married or having babies, right? because there's a required amount of maturity that is needed for you to. I wish men can understand what it is for you to birth a human being into this world. I mean, recently I saw a comedian, one of these comedians that does gospel comedy, Femi Babs, I think. I think his wife just put to birth. He came and he did a video. I put it on my story. He said, if any man insult any woman near her, now war they fight, fine. Because now he has experienced, it's one thing for you to even go through all those trainings. It's a different ball game when you experience it. Do you understand?
Yes.
And you see that process of life being brought forth to the world. So that's why I'm saying that it is not something you take lightly. Parenting is not a joke. You understand? It's not a joke at all. It's not something to be lackadaisical about. It is not something to play around. If we had a serious government, that woman should be chilling in Kirikiri by now. You understand?
And that's another thing. It's not just about the serious government. She's busy coming onto social media to defend her video. Does she realize that if they just take that child to a medical facility, we will know if that child had alcohol?
Of course now.
Does she think by pumping the girl with water and the girl wee all the water away, she thinks the alcohol, there'll be no
It
residue?
stays in the system for a very long time now.
So why has that child not been tested? That's the best way. Just take the child to those. Let them test the child.
I wish Sir Joe was here.
Then let's see whether her story
is the law. You understand? Because you see that thing, honestly speaking, if any legal organization takes on that thing, she's gone. There's no joke about it. She's gone. Completely gone. So as we wrap up the conversation, Precious, please, because we are talking and it's looking like the time is running away from us. How do we've mentioned a lot of things, but how do we tie up this conversation nicely? Because what I think I hope to achieve with this talk tonight is be serious about parenting. You understand? For me,
yes,
this is my calling. Parenting is not something you joke about. Parenting is not something you take lightly. That child, whatever that child becomes tomorrow, everything lies in how much exposure, you understand, you put into the life of that child today. Everybody is shouting Elon Musk, Elon Musk, Elon Musk. Everybody is shouting Bill Gates. Everybody is shouting most of these things are things that are parenting is almost like subliminal messaging, right?
Yes,
it is not a directing, because children are programmed just by the mere fact that they are around you, right?
Yes.
The mere fact that they are around you, they see, they do. You understand? They watch you. That's why you see a lot of children. Children are the most intelligent beings I have ever seen in my life. And that's why I do not believe that there's any dull child. What you have are dull parents. Because you see, every child has the potential and the capacity for greatness. You just need to be able to tap into that particular, realm of that child. And it takes intentionality. It takes deliberate work. It takes whatever it is that you have fed that child with. We are born tabula rasa, clean slate, right? So everything that we become, that clean slate, everything that we become are things. So I saw somebody slapping somebody, it stains your tabula rasa. I saw somebody hugging somebody and showing the person love, it also imprints on your tabula rasa, on your plain board. So you become what you have been exposed to. Both, directly, subliminally, everything. So that's why I'm saying that if I had a message tonight, please, parenting is not a joke, right? If you truly know, and you will know whether you have the capacity to raise another human being. And that's why I respect, because Sajo, they write for YouTube, say Gen Z parents. That's why I respect some of these Gen Z parents. They will tell you that I'm not ready. I'm not bringing a child into this world because I do not have the capacity to take care of another human being. That is honesty.
Yes.
So, Precious, if we want to tie up the conversation and you want to really, drive home this message, what is it that you're going to be, addressing as a result of this qualification for parenthood and all of that? what would be your, priorities right now to talk to someone that is watching?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about what parenting is like and how wrong parenting, can affect the child's development and the child's life, and how we hope that the government, will take a stand, a more productive stand as to protect children, vulnerable children from this type of bad parenting. So who is qualified to be called a parent, or who is qualified, I will even say who is qualified to be called a good parent, just to, separate it. So it's not just biology. Biologically, you can be a parent, but does that make you a good parent? No. So we've also agreed that good parenting means you nurture, you care, you support. But underlying all of these things is you being um, um, being responsible for the upbringing of that child. So it is you saying that you're prioritizing how your child's welfare is. So the quality of parenting you give is equal to the type of love you hold over that child, irrespective of the circumstances in which that child was born. So the quality of the parenting that you give shows how much you care for that child's growth and development. So that child, because come to think of it, these children did their own. You went and carried belle
Now
for
you
them.
carried them on this world, though. They did not ask to be born.
They had no right, as in they did not have a conversation with you.
You didn't take their permission.
Who blame their kids. No permission. So you see parents who say, I would have done this if not that I had you. That's a wrong burden to put over your child.
Thank you.
Your child was somewhere, in the realm of the spirit. You decided to go and knock and went and dragged the child from there. So why are you not making the child responsible for your failures as a parent? Provide love, provide care, and it should be unconditional. I mean, that is why you are a parent. It should not be, you did not greet me in the morning, so no breakfast for you. You did not do this, so no. You can discipline, yes, of course. There's a place for discipline.
Discipline, yeah.
But unconditional love, even inside discipline, there is unconditional love. You will not discipline and kill the person. There was a time when those videos were going viral where women would send, which is also back to good parent and bad parenting. You send an underage child to go and do housemaid for somebody, and the person wants to use beating and kill your child for you. So please, ultimately, being a good parent is not just biology. You should be able to provide care, love, support, and nurturing.
Yeah.
That person that is either your child or your ward. And
Absolutely.
if you have, or if you face challenges, please understand that there are people around you that are willing to give you the necessary advice and help and point you in the right direction of how best. I mean, some children can be difficult. It's their personality. How do you navigate it? There are people who can help you. Oh, you just want to say, oh yes, I remember when my child was doing that. This was what helped. Oh, I remember when my daughter was behaving like that. This was what helped. But if the parents who have already walked through this path do not explain exactly what it is, the ones that are coming up probably will never be able to understand. And so, I mean, sometimes parenthood can be frustrating. We understand that. But there are also the joys of parenthood, which nobody can, it cannot be quantified. So please, who is qualified to be a good parent? Care, nurture, support, provide, but do it unconditionally.
Absolutely. And I was just going to add that, please, you have to be emotionally, physically, mentally, financially stable before you should ever think of bringing a child into this world, because you will need all of those things. I don't know, Precious, if I left anyone out. You will need all of those elements to be able to.
All of them, yes.
Yes, you will need it. You need emotional stability. You need physical stability, stamina, because children like to play. You will jump. You will throw them. You people, all those things are part of what builds that child up. So you will need mental stability. You will need physical stability, financial stability, emotional stability. That is the only way you can raise a wholesome child. All those association of Yahoo mothers. If I catch you now, see, me they thank God say I know they for police. Because if to say there are so many people wait for the chill inside Kirikiri. Do you understand? Some kind of
Madam, what is my offense? Can you tell me my offense?
I will tell them their offense in jail. You know, hey God. So people should just be they should just be grateful to God, because if to say I want join a law enforcement agency, now only parenting matter I want they treat. God sees my heart. I go make sure say a lot of people go jail. But thank you, Precious. I think we had a fantastic conversation. I'm hoping that somebody learned something. And most importantly, if you know somebody that is going through this, or you're seeing some traces of, some of the traits that we've talked about around negative traits of parenting, please, the person needs help and the person needs to be aware. So maybe you can also share these links to them, or they can send us an email, counsel@vedaconsult.com. It's important that if you cannot do it, admit it, that I lack knowledge in this regard and I need help. People would help you. I suppose trying to, you can't gamble with the life of any human being. Please, let's not gamble with children. Let's not gamble. There's intentionality. And trust me, when you are intentional as a parent, you will see a fantastic result in the life of your children. You go to sleep. You will not be having all those headaches. All right, so I'll see you guys next week, hopefully. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.